I don't know about you, but the idea of making a full-time living by investing in anything sounds pretty damn amazing. The idea of doing that with sports cards is just insane. That's like the textbook definition of a dream job. But for most people, that will just be a pipe dream because most people will never put together a plan and then actually take the necessary action to accomplish it. Well, whether your goal is just to make an extra $500 a month flipping sports cards to pay for higher end cards for your PC, or it's to pay off your car or credit card debt, or you're thinking super big and you want to replace your job with this, I want to use my highly organized Virgo business brain and background as a Dave Ramsey certified finance coach to help you accomplish your goal based on what I am doing to take this side hustle into a full-time gig. By the end of this video, my goal is to have your pipe dream transformed into an action plan that you can follow throughout the year so that you can not only enjoy this hobby more, but you'll also be able to inspire others to do the same, just like I have been inspired by many others over the past few years. Oh yeah, it's also a great way of avoiding regret and becoming a bitter person. So welcome back. Now let's get to work. Now, when I start working with clients here in Los Angeles, most of them want to reduce their debt and save and invest more money. Some of them do want to change jobs or careers, but they feel like they can't afford to do so. So the first thing we would do is write down every bit of income, every expense, every asset, and every debt or liability on a piece of paper to see exactly what is going on. The reason this is so important is because we need to reverse engineer how we are going to get our goals based on where we are today. And in many cases, we don't necessarily need to earn more money to get ahead. What we need to do is stop hemorrhaging so much of it. So for me, if I wanted to take this gig full time, the most important thing I could do at first is reduce my monthly expenses. Now, unfortunately, I'm already pretty damn good at living humbly. I have a paid off car that I rarely drive, an awesome used Piaggio scooter, aka my chick magnet, and my hybrid Trek bike that I use to headbutt LA's finest paved roads. I also live in a very affordable 1-bedroom apartment that I will be sharing with my girlfriend when she's back in the States. Besides that, I don't spend more than I have to on food, except for my weekly cheat meal. That is like my big splurge. And all my other bills have already been audited and are as low in cost and high in value as possible. I also don't have any debt, so there's no monthly payments or any interest eating away at my savings account. Now for you, what I would recommend doing is to jot down all that information and focus on the top 3 to 4 expenses that are sucking up 80% of your money every single month, and see how that could be reduced at first and then move on to the other smaller bills. Okay, now let's get into the money making side of this, and this is where it gets fun because there are a ton of options with sports cards. For me to hit $3,500 a month, this is how I approach it. First, I want to multiply 3,500 by 12 to get 42,000 for the year, since that's the number that really matters. And then I want to list all the different ways I could accomplish this, and this is what I have. We got flipping raw and graded sports cards. We have flipping retail boxes, grading raw cards and reselling, Google revenue from YouTube contents, eBay affiliate revenue from my newsletters, Razes, card breaks, and there's also working at a card shop or creating a course or training around sports cards, and then any sponsorship or other affiliate opportunities. From there, I want to narrow this down to what excites me the most and also fits with my natural strengths and the resources I have. So I eliminate Razes and card breaks. Like I've said in the past, I would do breaks for charity, but not for profit. It just does not interest me. And I'm also not interested in working at a card shop simply because the time required for me versus the pay received wouldn't be worth it, considering what I would have to give up, unless card shops pay $100 an hour. I don't think they do. But I'm sure it'd be a blast. It's just not right for me. I also have zero interest in flipping retail because I hate driving, and I literally feel my brain cells die off every time I enter a Walmart. So the idea of going from Walmart to Walmart trying to find product not only sounds frustrating and time consuming, it also sounds more damaging to my mind than watching the Kardashians on repeat while like eating a bunch of deep fried cheese.
Don't make me think. I just want to be entertained.
So that leaves a couple other options. There is grading raw cards to later resell, And personally, I've made a pretty good profit on doing this with my Kobe cards in spite of paying more than double what I expected for a quicker service. As I record this, I have about 700 cards at PSA under the bulk submission service. So hopefully that'll be back over the next year and will provide a solid boost of income. But I've also realized that I hate the dirty work of handling raw cards. I hate cleaning them and straining my eyes looking for scratches. I just can't stand this type of work. To me, all this stuff is a chore and it takes away from the joy of the hobby. So I won't be focusing on that anymore. I've also realized that I moved to Southern California to be outside as much as possible, and I can't really bring my magnifying lamp and penny sleeves to Santa Monica Beach to go through raw cards. So when I see that it's another 75-degree sunny day, I feel like I'm punishing myself by choosing work that requires me to be indoors. That means that I want to make my income from the activities that I have the ability to do anywhere in the world. So it boiled down to these options right here. The first one is flipping cards, which I can do anywhere that has cell phone reception or Wi-Fi. So I could use the data tools and then buy and sell on eBay or ComC or StarStock or whatever other platform. There's also Google AdSense revenue, which is based on the quality of YouTube content I put out, which I do record here in my apartment. This isn't like a fancy set, but I edit at a park or outdoor mall, which is also probably why I have so many typos in my videos, because the sun is just beaming down on me. There is eBay affiliate revenue, which is based on how much valuable insight I can offer in my weekly newsletters. The more value I bring there, the more revenue that I can generate. And then the other opportunities like sponsorships, courses, or trainings, or whatever else I believe will open up at some point. But that's all based on how much value I bring you right now, which leads to a bigger and stronger community, which will then lead to bigger things down the road. I like showing you the big picture of things as well, but now let's get back to making money and how this all ties in. So right now I'm generating about $850 per month from YouTube. I would like for this to grow as the year goes on, and I expect it to, but I also want to be conservative. So let's just say it stays at $850 per month. That would be about $10,200 for the year. And so now I just need $31,800 for the year from card related stuff to be full time. Let's assume I don't get any cards back from PSA until next year, and I need to start from scratch right now. The next question I would ask myself is, how much would it take to realistically make $31,800 in profit from flipping sports cards? So right now in this hobby, money is flooding the market. So a lot of poor investments are looking decent, and a lot of decent investments are looking incredible, but we can't rely on that. So in order for me to feel confident about doing all this, I'm gonna have to assume that a quarter of my investments will either lose money or I'll have to hold off until next year. A quarter of them will stay where they're at. A quarter will make a bit of profit, and a quarter will make a 2x profit. Now, I'm basing this off of my experience in the last year of being in the hobby, as well as knowing how much I believe in buying in advance when prices are low and avoiding emotional impulse investments as much as possible. So in order for me to get to $31,800 in profit based on a 50% return, that would mean I'd need to invest about $63,000. That might sound crazy, but remember, this is based on just a 50% return once per year, not turning over the same money 2 or 3 times in a year. So if I was able to get a 50% return on my money twice in a given year, like selling off everything in June and then rolling that over and selling again in December, then I would only need to invest about $30,000, because a 50% profit the first time would be 15 grand, and then reinvesting all 45,000 back into cards and getting a 50% profit again would end up being $67,500 on just $30,000 invested. So minus taxes, it's right around that $31,800 goal. And the cool thing is that that's achieved with less than half of the money going in. And that's also why it's so important to pay off your credit cards and debt in full, because compound interest is incredibly powerful, but most people have it working against them rather than for them. Now, I don't know what your experience has been in the hobby, so it's up to you to determine what is a stretch and what is realistic. At this point, I feel like the first scenario is very doable with just 50% return once per year, and the second is much tougher, though I'm sure there are people out there doing that and perhaps even more. For me, I know I need to invest at least $30,000 in sports cards to sell off by summer to have a chance with the second scenario, and need to invest an additional $37,500 in the first 8 months of 2021 to have a realistic chance to sell off by the end of the year to achieve that full-time income. That means that my job is to do the research and invest in sports cards that I believe are on steep discount as much as possible early on, so I can have my money earn money a few times over before the year is done, so I won't have to rely on my PSA submissions or anything that is out of my control. Now, the good news is that these numbers don't include my current inventory of cards, anything I'm making on ComC, which is sometimes like $1,000 or more per month. It doesn't include any eBay affiliate revenue, which is, it's minimal, but it's still something. And it doesn't include growing further on YouTube. So any of these things can really push me over the full-time income right there. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I want to make a full-time income, but Brad, I don't have that much money to invest. What should I do? And honestly, I think that's where people get in trouble, because instead of cutting back on bills and taking a methodical approach over the next year or two to get to where they want to be, they just throw all their money into a high-risk card or into breaks, hoping to get lucky. And I like to think of it the way Tom Brady marches down the field. He takes what the defense gives him, and then once in a while, he'll throw a bomb when it's highly calculated. However, if you're only throwing Hail Marys, then 9 out of 10 times the ball will be either incomplete or get picked off. And we just get mesmerized by seeing highlights of that one Hail Mary that actually worked out. And I can't ethically recommend you to take that approach, since it's not based on any sound or proven principles. Instead, I'd say focus on what you do have.
I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Just to earn that money so you can reinvest. And these two sentences right here completely transform my paradigm around money and wealth. I heard it about 10 years ago from a real estate mentor of mine, and it's from author Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant. 2 books I highly recommend, and it's this. He says, most people that want a new Porsche, they just go out and lease one. But what wealthy people do is they ask themselves, what asset can I invest in that will pay for the Porsche? That way you have the Porsche that you want and the cash cow to pay for it. And so if you can invest in cards and turn that profit into cards for your PC or into entering card breaks, you could sustain this a lot longer. Now, for you to get a clear game plan set up, I think some of the biggest things to remember is that every dollar that is not spent or wasted on something can go directly into investments. And the more money going into investments you have, the better chance you have of your money growing for you, like becoming your employees and actually generating more money. So focus on tightening that up first, and then getting more disposable money available to reinvest. Also realize that a lot of this is out of our control, but there are a few things we can and must control to have the best chance of success. There's also a famous quote that goes, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. That's why I'm growing a brand at the same time. I'm flipping on ComC and Star Stock, and I'm getting involved with investing outside of sports cards, because we can't control all these things. But if we diversify our efforts and our income streams, then we are really sheltering ourselves from a collapse. That's also why if you can make money at a part-time job that you can then funnel into investing, then more power to you. But after creating a financial snapshot of where you're at and forming a goal that is challenging but also doable, list out the different ways you can accomplish it that excites you and uses your strengths, so you'll be enjoying the process and the hobby even more because you'll be good at it.
Betting the waiter and prime chili coming together to keep Shaq back, but Shaq won't be denied.
Now, I want this to be more than just a feel-good philosophical video that you pound the like button on. I want you to be able to form a detailed action plan based on where you're at right now and where your goals are. So I actually created a simple but powerful worksheet going over the steps I outlined in this video. Hopefully this will help you with not only sports card investing, but your entire financial situation as a whole. So if you click the link in the video description or in the pinned comment, you can download it. And if you'd like to learn some savvy ways to save money so you can then reinvest more into sports cards, check out this video up here. I'll see you over there. Can you shut that off? It's so damn loud. Turn your garbage music off, please.